Hello everyone, my name is Kirill, you're on the AutoAdviser channel. Today we'll talk about how the wheels of a car actually turn. Indeed, in this process there are many interesting tips. In one video called Power Steering, people asked how the wheels return to their original position. After we let go of the steering wheel. After all, many people know that when we release the steering wheel, when turning a certain force returns the wheels to the original position. What I am talking about, let's say in detail. I turn right, turn the steering wheel. I hold it with my hands, turn it, and at the same point let go of the steering wheel. So the wheels will return to the natural position and the steering wheel itself will unscrew these two turns. On my model, when I do this process, there is no force, and the wheels in principle don't return to their original position. To understand how this works, let's go back to a very simple invention, which is called a bicycle. Here I have a model of a certain bicycle or motorcycle. Here is the front steerward wheel, the rear, there is even a headlight. The essential difference is that, on my old model, the wheels turned along an axis that is perpendicular to the surface, and on a bicycle or motorcycle this axis is not vertical, but it is some angle of the surface. This angle is approximately 45 degrees. In this case, this wheel element is called castor angle. It is the installation of the steering wheel at an angle under the positive castor. As they say correctly, that allows the car or bicycle to return the steering wheel to its original position. Let me turn the wheels to the right, for example. I turn the wheel and now I continue to move and look, the wheel returns to its original position. Let's turn the wheel to the left again now. I continue to move and it again returned to its original position. That is, with such an installation of the steered wheels, a stable position is just the same natural. That's why you can ride a bicycle and a motorcycle like this, without holding the steering wheel with your hands. What actually happens when we turn a wheel that has a positive castor angle? The fact is that at this moment the bike itself rises a little. In this case, that is now it is such a distance from the surface, but when I turn the wheel, this distance increases slightly. That is, we sort of lift the bike itself up. Since the bicycle is now in a raised state, its weight acts downward and tries to return this wheel back. That is, the weight of the bicycle, motorcycle or car itself is the force that tries to return the wheel to its original state. Since when we turn it we lift and bike or car, I think if you don't understand it, you can try on a bike. Take the wheel just in place, turn it to the right, and you will feel the bike rise a little. If you release the steering wheel, it will return to its original position. So, intermediate conclusion. The determining factor that returns the wheel of the car to its original state is the angle of inclination of the axis of rotation, the so-called castor angle, or the castor angle, as it's called. On my model it is 45 degrees, but on production cars this angle is slightly less. It is about 15 or 10 degrees there. Among other things, the castor angle also affects the headline and turning radius a little. Therefore, on various sport cars it is actually regulated, and since we touched on this topic about wheel alignment, I want to tell you about very important angles called camber and convergence. Many may have heard that when changing the suspension, it is necessary to adjust these angles and set the correct castor, camber angles and some other factory settings. So the toe angles in a real car of the front wheels as well as the rear ones are not parallel to each other. In fact, they look a little towards with each other, like this approximately. I now show, of course, to scale. This angle is called the angle of convergence, because these will seem to converge on each other. This angle is responsible for the handling of the car, for how the car holds the road as well as for turning the car. Therefore, if this angle has gone astray, then when you release the steering wheel, for example, on the track, the car sometimes goes on one way or the other. This may be one of the factors, by the way. The second angle is called camber. In a real car, the wheels are slightly at this angle. This angle is called camber. It also affects handling, turning radius, on how the car holds the road, and also on how what loads the car perceives, that it is carrying capacity. For example, the restructured truck, you can see with the naked eye how the wheels are like this, but when this truck is loaded, the wheels become normal. So we briefly reviewed the basic wheel alignment angles. These are toe angle, camber angle, and castor angle. Did you know that when turning the steered wheels must turn at different angles? On my model now they are rotated by the same angle, that is, the angle of rotation of the right wheel is equal to the angle of rotation of the left wheel. But this is strictly kinematically incorrect, since one of the wheels will skid over the surface because their center of rotation is not aligned. Let's show what I'm talking about. To begin with, consider how the rear axle turns. Here is the rear axle I have on this model, and on this model it is represented by such yellow wheels. If you extend the center line of this axis, then when you turn it rotates around a certain center in this case. This center is here under my finger. This is how the rear axle turns. Now let's add the right front wheel. Here is this. Here is his model. I am now installing it. If we extend the axis of rotation of the front right wheel and the rear axle, then they should intersect at some point here. This will be the pivot point where my finger is now. Because there is a turn, here our rear axle turns. Here the front right wheel turns, approximately in this way. And finally, let's install the left front wheel. Look at its model carefully. Now all the axles should converge at one point, this so-called point. This is the instantaneous center of speed, or the center of turn. That is, all the wheels turn around this point. This model shows how the wheels of the car should turn kinematically. When passing a turn, as you can see, the angle of rotation of the right wheel differs from the angle of rotation of the left. That is, to the right, somewhere by so much, and the left by so much. So, intermediate conclusion is that when turning the steered wheel, they must turn at different angles. This is dictated by the correct kinematics, since the wheels must all rotate around the same center. On real cars, the steering angles are provided by the correct steering linkage. Here I have a steering linkage. Well, here it's actually a rectangle or parallelepiped, but in reality it is a trapezoid and certain angles are set here. These angles are also called Ackermann angles. And now the important news. If you need any suspension or steering parts, tire rods, hinge and so on, be sure to visit our website, the link will be in the description. Basically, that's all what I wanted to say about this thing. How the car actually turns, I told about the main installation angles, about the kinematics of the turn, showed you what the motorcycle or the bicycle has to do with it, how everything works and moves here. So be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and all the best to you, and see you soon!